Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I'm your host Sean Gomer, and here with me, as always, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And we had to do this on a Friday night, Saturday morning for y'all when you listen on demand, because um, we had the big old storm. Even though really here in Miami we didn't get a whole lot. Some pretty typical stuff, really, other than like some strong winds. But my heart goes out to everybody that's in Fort Myers Beach, Cape Coral, even Orlando, and all that area got tremendous flooding. I don't know if you've seen it, Mark, but Fort Myers Beach is absolutely not the same, just desecrated. Um,
Yeah,
it looks absolutely terrible. Feels so terrible for all those people that just lost their homes, and it's terrible what hurricanes can do. And if you were doubting climate change, that's a result right there.
that's why I don't live in an area that can be hit by one.
Yeah, but I mean, you live in one where you could have like a massive blizzard or snowstorm or something, or but
Yes,
yeah,
but the landscape does not change.
yeah.
Like
So yeah, and now it's hitting what North Carolina, South Carolina. So people already have no power, and it's flooding beaches and everything. So, uh, not great at all. So just wanted to put that out of the way. Thankfully, both two members of our network here, Mark Radlich and his family, was not tremendously affected. He got lucky that it actually the big part of it hit underneath Tampa and not right on Tampa. And then Ethan, that does one half of the Taught the Keiki, he lives in Orlando, and luckily for him, it wasn't anything major as well. So that being said, we are going to talk about video games here. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. If this is your first time or your 100th time, we appreciate you either way. Thank you always for listening and or watching. You can watch this on Twitch when we go live. You can also watch this on our Facebook, WT Network on Facebook, WT Network on Twitch, on my Twitter, WT Sean, Marc is at Humanity Plague if you want to follow him. And, so you can watch us live there. You can watch us later on YouTube as well, the WT Network YouTube. And then also you can watch us, whenever it is you want on demand there. And you can also listen on the podcast. So podcast doesn't always come out. Most of the time, it doesn't come out like directly along with the video. It comes out like perhaps hours or a day later. So that's one thing I'll go ahead and put out right now. But you do get to listen to it on whatever service you want to listen to it on, whether it's Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify. We do appreciate all you guys that listen through any of those services. And well, we got plenty to talk about here. Lots of cloud gaming stuff, and the major thing is going to be Google finally doing something we kind of thought was inevitable from the start. Stadia getting shut down. Skull and Bones is delayed once again. Also, unsurprisingly, I guess, and quite a bit more to talk about here right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right, so we might as well just go ahead and get started right here. Not a few days ago, Google announced basically in a tweet that came in through an email that was sent to everybody else, the developers and people that actually own Stadia, whether it's the console or games or both, that as of January 18, 2023, Google Stadia will be no more. And Mark, we kind of said it from the beginning that this was sort of inevitable because of the way that they brought this thing out. The entire like press conference for it felt like a lot of features that a lot of people weren't going to be asking for. And then some that just never materialized as well. What do you think went wrong when you look at Stadia?
Everything. They were trying to solve a problem that like no one was asking for, or like no one was wanting to be fixed. And the fact that they were charging like full prices for games was like crazy. If it had been lower, or possibly the subscription that like Luna is doing, maybe, but no. And it just never caught on.
I mean, technically, it does have a subscription,
Yeah,
or it
but like
did.
a worthwhile
Huh?
one, or
Yeah.
you get more than one crappy free game a month that you've barely heard of.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it felt as if, you know, Stadia launched and okay, cool. There's Stadia coming. Oh, it's a cloud gaming service. Oh, there's other cloud gaming services that also exist. And hey, we're not really the only thing we're going to do different from those things is hey, you get to pay for your games, so you sort of own them.
Except not
And
really.
yeah, except not, but at least they're refunding everyone. That is, they could have taken that money and ran if they wanted to, but they're refunding everyone, even the hardware, not just the games. I saw someone that had, I think it was like thousands spent in games. So you could say the people that had Stadia liked it and used it.
But those four
And yeah,
people.
I don't know, I wouldn't say it was four. There was a lot of developers that were making things for Stadia. Not exclusive, but they were making them. And then also I think, you have people that saying they were like during the pandemic, it was great because you could use it as a way to test your game, So I mean, that's the thing is I think we should really think about that. Like this did have a purpose. Like it's not like the technology worked, right? It's just Google did a really bad job of selling it. I think yeah, go ahead.
No, the technology worked, sure, but again, it's just it's trying to solve a problem for like which no one is really asking for. And it's like, who's the person going like, I want to play new games, but I don't want to buy a game console or a PC? And it's like, well, if you want to play games, you're gonna have to do one of those two things. And buying some $50 dongle and crappy controller doesn't solve the problem, especially since like half the game, or not half, but like a good chunk of those games don't work well on Stadia to begin with because they require like good timing, or no frame rate issues.
Yeah, I think the big part of it also is just think about it in a way of you don't have something like GeForce Now that is taking games that you already own and allowing you to play them through a stream, right? And then you also don't have the being able to, like Xbox Game Pass, right? It's part of another service that already has games on it, and it's just a feature of that service. So if you don't have a console and you want to play on your phone or you want to play on your browser, you can, right? You can just subscribe to Game Pass, but it also has something. If you have a really good PC or you have the console, you can kind of do something with that, and they are going to be able to eventually have the dongle and all that stuff. I think Stadia, what really hurt it too is also nothing that it's coming out is exclusive, right? Nothing
Yeah,
about
there
it
was
is
like,
special.
when it launched, it had like one exclusive game that like no one cared about, or maybe I think like two, like some, and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, and as soon as they did the thing where they, it's funny to find out later that, Jade Raymond was signed her contract with Google like a week before the event where they showed it off.
Yeah,
And then pretty quickly they just dissolve all the studios because Google didn't realize that it was apparently very expensive to make games. And it's weird that you have somebody like Phil Harrison as the head of your whole gaming side, and you mean you couldn't ask him how much it cost when he helped put out 2 consoles, PS3 and Xbox One, and how much of a debacle the launches of those were, and how you're gonna know that you're gonna have to like produce stuff constantly in order to get people to keep doing things with your service. And that was the thing, like it didn't have enough games. Your Stadia Pro thing was nowhere near as good as what even Amazon Luna can offer. Right, I've used Luna before; it's actually pretty good. And
I mean, Stadia
yeah.
sounded. People have said Stadia is more or less fine, except for racing games, fighting games, rhythm games.
Well, yeah, the stuff that unless you have really, really good internet, you're not going to be able to do a lot with because you still have the lag and other things with it. But it sucks for people that really liked it. It sucks for developers that didn't know until like the moment that announcement that their game that they what was it? Was it Saints Row or
no?
PlayOn announced something. PlayOn announced something that was coming to Stadia, and then they had a funny meme like a week later. Oh, I guess not. So after the announcement, because they didn't let anybody know beforehand, they just, oh hey, it's getting shut down. I mean, it's not immediate, but they're shutting it down. So you have until January 18, 2023 to play your games on there before they are no longer part of that service. You are getting your money back, so then you can, I guess, go ahead and buy those games on a PC or wherever else you want to play those. But
I think Ubisoft has said they're also going to try to transition people like who have Ubisoft games to their platform if you want.
Yeah, the Ubisoft Plus thing. And then, I mean, for the one good thing about it, it was like the one place you could play Cyberpunk where it actually worked aside from PC when it first came out. So that helped it gain a lot of traction there as well. Yeah, I just think it was one of those where like Google just didn't realize how much of an undertaking this is and how much you're not going to get something out of it right away. And
I mean, they probably expected it to be like Google Play Store or something like that.
Right, where people were just gonna like, but even then, like, that there are other players in this market, right? Like Apple dwarfs them, and every time there is a new NPD, and that's just here. Who knows what's happening in other countries? We get numbers that Google Play Store numbers that keep going down and down and down, and Apple's are barely. If they're losing anything, it's barely anything, like a couple percent. Because Apple has that much domination of the market. Whereas like the market's already dominated by PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, PC. Like you're coming in and you're trying to be your own store, your own version of Steam, but for cloud gaming, and you have nothing that's exclusive to it. Like, why do I need to? I mean, we could talk. I know you hate them, but even Epic has its exclusives. Yes, they're buying that, but Google didn't play that game. Apparently there's a rumor that they tried to make a deal with Activision until Microsoft came and bought them. Would that have given them a big lifeline? Sure.
No,
probably.
I think it would have really pissed people off actually, because then you're like locked into the service that no one wanted.
Well, I mean, it would have given them a lifeline to be like, okay, well, you got to figure out, do you get Stadia? Or I can't imagine that it was going to be like exclusive and it wasn't going to be on any other consoles or PC or something. That there had to be something to that. I can't imagine Activision's just going to blow. I mean, they have those deals with PlayStation, so that they couldn't have possibly made that an exclusive thing. But the fact that they were going to get like Activision games on there for a certain amount of time, maybe that would have helped. But I think people just aren't ready for cloud gaming in that capacity yet. Like the way Game Pass does it, where it's an option, the way GeForce does it, it's an option, right? Or it's you're using stuff you already have and getting to play it on something else because you're not at home on your PC. And even then, not everything works on GeForce now, right? So, I mean, like, I guess just to put a cap on it, do you think? I mean, they've talked about using this technology in other places for Google. They've talked about that apparently the employees of Stadia are going to be able to get jobs in other places in Google.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw. I think I heard Jeff Gerstmann talk about it. Some like he could be used for like video editing,
right.
Or some type of app or some type of thing that doesn't require like the lowest latency possible, or something like that. Or even like education.
Yeah, it sucks that it didn't work well as a gaming platform. I mean, it did for the time that it existed, but it's actually sad that it didn't even last as long as some other failed Google projects. Apparently, by the time it goes down, it will have been 10 months less than a lot of other Google things that have been around and failed. So, yep, it goes to show. I wonder if that means there's any kind of time ticking for Amazon Luna at all, or if Amazon's going to keep propping that up with Twitch. But considering Twitch has been going through some bad PR lately after the stuff with the dropping gambling and then also increasing lowering the revenue for the streamers. So we'll see how that goes anyway. But since we're already talking about cloud gaming, just so we can go ahead and get that stuff out of the
bring
way.
back Mixer.
Yeah, if there was ever a time for Microsoft to have actually kept Mixer going, this was the time, perhaps. So it basically, as always seems to happen, right after we did the show, the next morning, Logitech announced a cloud gaming device. And then later that week, Razer also announced another basically like cloud gaming device. The Logitech one cost $350.
The Razer one hasn't been like announced yet, or I mean, they said it was coming out, but they didn't like show it off or display price or anything. So
right,
that's
they've
a little more
announced
nebulous.
that it's like the Razer Edge 5G. You're going to be able to play games in the cloud despite the 5G focus. Verizon's the one providing the 5G service, and you can download games to it, unlike the Logitech G, where that's all streaming. So they're going to actually do the reveal October 15th, so we won't get the full like details of it until then, but it is supposed to be using a Snapdragon G3X Gen 1. The Logitech G, it's too much money for what it is.
And also if the lack of like a network is a problem.
I mean, the fact that you can only use it in your house really limits what you're going to do with it. There are people that, like, I really don't. I wind up using my Switch more than, say, the Xbox app on my phone because I don't want to be using my phone to game, really. So
you have a laptop.
Well, I have my laptop, but I can't. Okay, so if I go somewhere, right, where my laptop is not with me, I can't. I'm only playing. I either take my Switch with me, or I don't play anything because I don't really want to use my phone to game. Because then if I get notifications from work or something else, I can't. It's annoying to look through and get off the game and whatever. So, even then, it drains your battery life on your phone. So that's not something I really want to deal with either. So having a dedicated like cloud device is actually sort of interesting to me. And having a 12-hour plus battery life is really good because I have the original Switch and it barely lasts 3 hours. But $350 is ridiculous. Now I get it. I get the explanation, right? Of, oh, well, they're not tied to any company, so they're not going to make money off the games and be able to suffer a loss or whatever. I don't know. I just think that charging anything more than $250, you're asking for nobody to buy this.
Yeah, especially since it doesn't have like, I mean, for $50 more, you can get a Steam Deck, which
exactly
is infinitely more useful.
Yeah, you can get a Steam Deck. Yeah, the battery life's not great on the Steam Deck, but it just, if you're gonna come out with one of these, you either gotta really go gung ho and have a lot of great features, aside from just saying, oh, we're gonna work with Xbox, or we're gonna work with Steam, and we're gonna work with this to get it to be great. You're not giving us really anything. So, I mean, I don't know. It just,
I mean, the Logitech one in particular seems like a wash because it has it only is streaming. And if you can't have 5G like the Razer one, then there's no point. Like, it has no storage. You can't like download a game to it. So,
yeah, I mean, and I understand sort of the whole, like, okay, I mean, I'm cool with not downloading a game if you're only going to be streaming and you're going to be in your house and you're going to be using your house's Wi-Fi, and you would assume if you're buying this, it's because you have really good, internet. You're not buying this if you have like 10 megabyte, the most basic thing your internet provider gives you. So, quite frankly, it doesn't have a like audience. When you look at that, you go, who's this for? Like, nobody. Because and that's my thing, is like, if they had something, if it was cheaper and you could say, okay, cool, I'm not paying that much for something where I can just play games on it and I don't have to use my phone, but not at $350. I can buy a Series S for less than that. I can buy a Switch, the OLED. I could buy, for $50 more. I could buy a PS5. I mean, nobody thought that through, and we're just worried about the loss of hardware or the loss of money, and it just doesn't make sense.
Did you see the Kotaku article saying like everyone's making a new PlayStation Vita but Sony about these two things? And it's like, because Sony tried and failed, like just like these two things are gonna fail. Like, this isn't like rocket science. Like,
at least the Logitech ones, I will be very surprised if there is a decent sales number for that. Maybe the mobile one, the Razer one, will be okay, but
I mean, also even it's like, I think the inertia with the Steam Deck is just too much. Also, at least for this specific market.
Yeah, I mean, if there is somebody that could do one, they won't. But Microsoft could do one, price it cheaply, and have it be an official like Game Pass machine. And maybe if they get it to work with Steam, they could sell it.
No, I don't think they get it to work with Steam.
That
would literally be a direct competitor with the Steam Deck. So
well, who knows? Money talks. So I wouldn't say no to that idea, but Microsoft won't do it. It would be very surprising if they did. Especially when they're
Sega.
Sega, yeah, exactly.
Game Gear 2.
Yeah, have the game. Yep, we haven't done anything hardware wise in a while, except for bringing out the Genesis Mini or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's just do a Game Gear Mini or whatnot. So,
or they already did those. Those are bad.
Yes. Oh, that's right. They did do that.
In Japan, they had like 4 games per console. Like, You idiots.
Oh,
And
that's
then,
right. Yeah,
and then
like
they
they
were
had
like
like
in chawl or something, or some stupid size.
like how am I gonna see this screen again?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
yeah,
like
not happening.
you didn't learn Nintendo's mistake with the Game Boy Micro. Like,
Right. Exactly. I guess not. Um, well, Embracer has one positive and one negative this week. Tiny Tina apparently has done so well that they're gonna do a franchise of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I still need to play this game.
no, you don't.
I don't. You keep saying I don't, but
You've played a Borderlands game, so you're there. You
yeah. I mean, I I still am enthused by the premise. Like, I like the fact that we're going more, magic based and all that stuff. Yeah, I know it's still kind of shooting and whatnot, but I don't know if it gets down to a low enough price. I think I'd go
I mean, if
for
it was
it.
like $10, then sure, but
Yeah, but I mean, it's good that it's so well. It's good that people are going for it, and they did a spinoff that did well, so they're gonna do what Gearbox has been doing. Just keep making
run it
stuff for it until
run it into the ground.
exactly. I will say I'm still excited for that new Tales of the Borderlands. You know,
I'm not,
you're
because
not.
they're writing it. So,
Yeah, that's true. Um,
like once Randy Pitchford just said like, oh, we're handling the writing. It's like, okay, well, I can check out of this
well,
now.
I mean, it wasn't gonna be Telltale doing it. You knew that.
It would have been nice, or if they said like we got the writer from the first game, but like, okay, maybe you have something there, but they're gonna have like Claptrap all in that game making dumb puns, and it's like oh Christ, kill me now.
Oh yeah, you know that they're gonna have stuff like that. I
all
mean,
the quote unquote favorites.
some of the characters are interesting that they're putting into this new game. I wonder if it's going to have anything to do with the old Tales of the Borderlands at all, or if
I'm
this
sure
is
there'll be
just
a cameo, or there'll be like I don't think it'll have like Reese or the girl or anything, but I'm sure there'll be like a scene, or like in the background there'll be like Reese's picture or something like that,
yeah,
or maybe like Loaderbot will come up.
yeah. Just it makes me like just curious to see because I really like that game, so I'm sort of it's just coming out in that month where there's just everything,
Yeah,
so you got to pick and choose what you're getting for sure. Like I can't even I'm intrigued by some of these Square Enix games that are coming out here all at the end of the month, and I'm like, yeah, I don't even know if I can go for Harvestella because it's just too much coming out. So I have to, and plus, God of War coming out in November, I gotta make sure save for that
that's the
as well.
important
But
one.
yeah, that's the important one for sure. So on the other side of the coin for Embracer Group, when you own so many things, you're bound to have some kind of negative press at some point or another. Saints Row did not do
Yeah,
well.
the biggest hit of
Uh,
the year.
yeah. And their Embracer Group CEO, Lars Wingefors, even said he is personally disappointed by the reception of, Volition and Deep Silver's new Saints Row. A lot of complaints about it. For the most part, it doesn't seem like there's really a lot of positives from
I,
reviews and what I've seen of it.
the only positive, and this is the weirdest one, is I've seen people really compliment the game on its like creative, not creativity, but like the fact that like customization options, and it's bizarre because it's like you could do that in every Saints Row game. Like this isn't new. Like I
Right.
guess they may give you more parts, or maybe like one or two more options, but it's like, yeah, you could do this in any game, any of those games. Like Saints Row 3 had like 7 voices. Same with Saints Row 4. Like this isn't like a new concept for the series.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not.
I don't. I
They Yeah, go
No, I was
ahead.
going to say I had not an argument, but a debate with another reviewer on her like Facebook page about it, because she pointed out like on her review, she's like, "Oh, you can customize your character like really like in depthly."
Right.
And I was like, I didn't attack her because she was a Facebook friend, but I was just like, you can do this in every game. Like this
Yeah.
isn't new. And I saw
But I
that
mean,
like
that was one of the things they were touting about this, is that you had a lot of creativity with the.
yeah, but the only like new thing you could do is like customize your guns, and it doesn't sound like you could do that like that well.
Right.
But so yeah, it's just odd. I don't think they gave Saints Row either enough time, enough money, or enough good people to like make it.
Yeah. I mean, I think they also like they couldn't go to the extremes that the Saints Row games have gone in the past. I feel like, because it.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't mind it being a more grounded, well, pardon the pun, a more grounded game. Like it doesn't need to be like this superhero thing that Saints Row 4 was, or even like the weird, Saints Row 3 is kind of grounded, but it gets crazy after like the second mission. So, like, I don't mind that if it's like going back to kind of its roots, but it sounded just terrible, like the way they tried to do it. So it's like this doesn't quite work.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where he's still kind of hoping that in November they find out some better information, but right now it's kind of like that. The way it's been since the beginning, it's very polarizing, very much a mixed bag reception for this game. I don't think we're going to be seeing it on a lot of end of the year lists or anything from a lot
You're
of
telling me the
people.
studio that put out Agents of Mayhem made another bad game? Speaking of end of the year list, this isn't in our news, but I'll point it out real quick. That Ubisoft is releasing like Far Cry 6 Game of the Year edition, and
Oh
it's like
boy.
what publication or website or whoever had Far Cry 6 as Game of the Year other than Ubisoft?
Yep, nobody.
Yeah.
But you could just say like special edition or something. I like
Or like complete
people.
package or complete,
Yeah,
something like
the
that.
complete
Like, come on,
edition,
guys.
like Game of the Year edition. Yeah, man. Nobody that year had it. That's Game of the Year. You're
Wait for the Saints Row
kidding
Game of the Year
yourself.
edition.
Yeah, right. I would not be surprised if that's what we get. But hey, thank you for bringing up Ubisoft here. Skull and Bones has been delayed again, Mark. How not surprised are you?
Like I said online, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
It's unfortunate that we have to keep talking about this game in this manner.
Period. Just end right there.
Well, hey, there are still developers working on this game. I don't want to like just hate on that. I'm sure that they are.
I'm sure they're chained to a desk in Shanghai somewhere.
Yeah, it's just not a great look when you thought, okay, they just made the whole big deal about releasing this gameplay trailer, and
I mean, they gave a definitive release date like a few months ago, whenever the hell they released that trailer.
Yeah, not only a trailer, like they released a story trailer, they released like gameplay footage, all of that, and then go, okay, it is coming out the day before God of War comes out, November 8th. That's it. It's coming. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, it's not ready. And we're moving it to March 9th, 2023, which I guess they want to make sure it comes out in this fiscal year so they don't lose anything else from it. But
hey, still think it'll release on Stadia?
I mean, it wouldn't make any sense to release any games on Stadia because then people are buying stuff on. Yeah,
if it's going to release on March 9th, that'll be 2 months after Stadia goes down.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no. But even then, if they had released, I wonder how they're going to do that. Are they going to even just? I guess they're not going to release anything else on Stadia, right? Because then you'd have to refund that if somebody buys it.
Well, the store, you can't even buy anything on Stadia anymore. Like the store's already taken offline. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're just letting you only play what you bought in your library. So, but either way, Ubisoft, give them credit. At least they're not just putting it out there to die. They have realized that they have the ability to give games life after they launch, but you want to launch them in the best position possible. I feel bad for that studio at this point. You're just continually working on this game that you don't know what the reception of it is going to be, because it does feel like it's missing a lot from things that you see, and
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion it's not going to be the most positive reception.
Yeah. I just want to know, like, if you out there are excited for Skull and Bones, please let me know. Please hit me up, W. Tim Sean, or hit up Mark and
Like,
let us know. Are you excited for this game?
the thing is I like the pirate stuff in Assassin's Creed 4.
Right, me too.
But it goes hand in hand with there being like third person melee combat, like you're taking over the opponent's ship or stuff like that. Like I didn't find the naval combat like that wholly interesting. Like it was fine.
Yeah.
But
and this is more like PvP as well, right? You're trying to level up in like your ranking, and so you can build a better ship and all that stuff. It's not part of a, I guess, grandeur story. It's more of the Titanfall 1. Oh, there'll be story around it, but that's not really the whole point of the game.
Yeah. So I still don't like. I guess with Sea of Thieves, like there is a kind of communal aspect, or partner up with your friends,
right?
But they haven't announced that for this game at all. Like, it's not like, oh, you and your friends can hang out on your ship and do different crap.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel like that's what this is for at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like them trying to blow out basically what was like a mini game. I mean, almost, and like an AC4 has always been like a bad move. Like always not gone is gonna do well.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're saying they did take feedback from those technical tests and people that are on the insider program, and decided to delay it. But
it's like when CD Projekt Red tried to make Gwent into an actual game. It's like,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, to be fair, they did support it for a while.
For like a year or two, but that was about it.
I mean, that's a year or two longer than I think most of us thought it was going to last. So,
yeah,
that's something at least. And there's going to be possibly WWE wrestlers in Rainbow Six Siege. So, hey,
forget that. I want to have them in Skull and Bones instead.
They've shown some models of the Undertaker and Becky Lynch so far. These are all just this is leaks. It's not.
Yeah, it's rumored so far, but I mean, if they're putting John Cena in fucking Fortnite, then anything's possible.
Right. I mean, we kind of know that that deal with 2K and WWE has not been that great. I mean, 2K20, 2K22 was much better than the previous all the others
8 games
for the most part. But yeah, I don't think it says a whole lot either when look at what they produced the last couple of years prior. It wasn't. Yeah. So I mean, at least WWE's being smart and being like, hey, can we start taking our license to other places, because just doing it off this one game is not helping us.
When are they going to put Finn Balor in Mario Kart?
That'll be the day. Oh, why not? They'll just make a WWE kart racing
Crush
game.
Hour 2.
Yeah, other people are doing it at this point, so why not? I mean, there's a Paw Patrol one, so I guess WWE wouldn't be too far from there. Speaking of other multiplayer games, Overwatch 2 keeps getting bad press for itself. First, they revealed you have to have a mobile phone and provide your phone number in order to. I mean, I don't care about this. Other companies have all my information probably.
Yeah,
because you know
that's worked out well for me with my Facebook problem, hasn't it?
yeah, like I mean, on the face of it, should you really worry about this stuff other than a possibility of them getting hacked? But like all these other freaking social media things that you're on, you know, yeah, could it go bad? Definitely, but this is kind of in combination with this other announcement that they made this week of Overwatch 2 players that are new to the series that don't have any data from Overwatch 1 and they're getting into it the first time because this game is going to be free to play. You're going to have to play 100 matches to unlock all of the original heroes. And then you won't be able to have features like in-game chat or competitive mode until you've met certain requirements. This is basically to help like prevent having people have just accounts that are there to be a nuisance.
Yeah.
I mean, as somebody that does play Overwatch, Mark, like, how do you feel about this? Like, if you were new to this game, would this deter you at all, or?
I would say, for me personally, the number thing is kind of onerous, just because I think it's dumb. Like, I already have their Blizzard Authenticator. Like, that should be good enough.
Right.
The second one, I kind of see it more, or see it that's slightly more valid. I don't think 100 matches is good. Like, that's too much, personally. But, like, that game has, like, 30 characters already, or maybe, like, 25 or something. Like, that's a lot. And if you're kind of thrown into the deep end, you're going to go, like, how do any of these characters play? Especially since, like, this thing isn't launching with the story mode. It's just the online thing.
Yeah. I mean, is the story mode going to come at all, or it's always just going to be?
No, it's supposed to come, like, later. I think, like, next year.
Okay.
They're doing the Halo Infinite thing, which was working out well for them.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know how many heroes it's going to launch with, so that might be
all the Overwatch 1 ones for one.
Why? But okay, I'm talking about
and
the
I think
new
like
heroes
one new one.
Well, they got to launch with a little bit more because if you're new, right, you can't just everybody's going to play as the one character.
No, because who knows if that character will be good or not, or will. But people like, I mean, established players like they know who they to play as.
Right. Exactly.
So I imagine like when if you're like a new player, you'll start off with like 5 characters, like the most like basic like Soldier 76 or like Mercy or the most like basic archetype characters, and then kind of branch out from there.
Right.
They should do it intelligently and just go like, who looks interesting to you? Like look at all these characters, pick one, and then stick with it for like 5 or 10 rounds.
Which one speaks to you, and then you go on. I kind of agree. The whole like, let's do this to try to prevent, having
cheating
and scammers and all that stuff. I mean, that's a good
Overwatch
idea.
2 will launch with 35 characters.
Okay.
That's a lot. Like.
Well, how many of them were the original characters?
32.
Okay, so you're getting 3 of the new characters.
Yeah,
at least. But I mean, is this like getting you excited to play Overwatch again, or
not really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually like battle passes that much. I think the idea of them is interesting, but like they always have like 1 or 2 requirements that like are insanely hard or like just require a ton of grinding that I don't like to do.
And that's the way you're going to be unlocking the new characters, right? With the battle pass.
I think the first one the first one is like you can unlock with the battle pass, but if you already have Overwatch 1, you'll just get it. You'll get the character already. But yeah, the next characters, that's how you do it. I don't know. They've announced the loot boxes are gone completely.
Yeah.
But it's like how I don't like the idea of having to like unlock crap for characters that I'm never gonna like use with a battle pass. Like I like playing as one of the healer characters, Mercy, and it's like, well, if this battle pass only has like 1 unlock for her, and she's like level 46 in this level 50 battle pass, it's like, well, I guess I'm going to be here a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think these things are good in theory. What matters is the game comes out and people are into it again, which,
Yeah, Overwatch hasn't been doing too well.
yeah,
It's a problem with like maps also. Like that, like at a certain point they just stopped working on it, so they didn't have a ton of maps in the game, or maps were like locked off to specific play styles or round types. So
right.
that was kind of an issue.
Yeah, they definitely got to provide more. And, it's going to be Microsoft's thing at some point, even though they're still having that battle with Europe on whether it's going to get approved or not. But it feels like it's just inevitable, and Sony's just done their part to stall it. Whether it goes into phase 2 investigation or not, we'll have to see. They set a date of November 8th. But either way, I feel like we're still going to get that approved. And eventually Microsoft is going to face the same problem as Halo Infinite, where do you want to repeat this again, where you have all these things that you're promising and then they don't come out and then you're having to delay it. And so that's a beast you have to contend with at some point there. Hey, they did release the World of Warcraft Dragonflight release date November 28th. So
Yep. I look forward to reviewing it. I'm trying to clear up enough hard drive space to install WoW again.
Oh, I mean, you ready to play as a dragon race and get down there and
Not really.
No.
Like, I like playing like my character. So like, I mean,
Right.
I'll play enough of the Drakthor or whatever the fuck they're called, like to like get them how they operate differently. But I don't know, it's like playing my character. So I'll just explore the new lands with like that with my guy and go from there. And hopefully it's less busted than the last two expansions have been, which have not been overly positive, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that it is positive, considering work.
I think
They
it's
really need to improve this.
I think it's really funny that they're like, oh, it's like we're bringing talent trees back, and it's like, great, a system that worked well in the first place that you got rid of for no good reason, you're bringing back, and all the
Yeah.
abilities that I used to already have are now part of this stupid system again.
Well, but hey, I mean, at least you'll have something new to explore. You got all the dragon stuff. People like dragons, right? Game of Thrones going strong again, so maybe some of that will rub off on World of Warcraft, and people will get. But I feel like this has been one of those where like you haven't really seen a lot of people talking about it.
Well, you don't follow the right people, let's say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of people are playing like Warcraft right or WoW right now.
right
So,
now.
and the weird thing is that people seem more excited to like play Wrath of the Lich King.
The classic.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it is cool to get to have that nostalgia again. So
I saw a great video. I think it was like a month ago. Do you follow Asmongold at all? Probably not.
I know who that is. But I don't follow.
Yeah, he's like a
him,
WoW
no.
streamer, primarily. But he was watching someone else's video. They were doing a raid dungeon, and it was like the last time they could do it because the server was switching to the Wrath of the Lich King, and this sword dropped that everyone wanted. Like it barely ever drops. It had like a 0.5% chance to ever drop. Everyone wanted it. The guy who won it, it's for a character that can't actually wear it or can't use it. And he got it for transmog purposes.
Yeah.
Like, which is like 2 expansions down the road, or maybe 3.
Yeesh.
And it's like, oh, by the time Mr. Pandaria Classic hits, then I can use this thing. Not even use it, just be able to like wear it. And it's like,
I can't believe we're talking about possibly going to Mr. Pandaria Classic. Like, at some point, don't you just? It doesn't. It just stop being classic.
yeah. I mean, but I think Cataclysm would be like the last one because that's like the 1 to 4, the big, continental shift, or before they did everything screw to it.
I mean, and it's also weird to think that Pandaria was like 10 years ago as well. It's like, man, what a way to make you feel old at this point.
I think I reviewed that one. So
yes, you did. I remember that. But that being said, at least Blizzard does have some positives going for it. We'll see how Overwatch is perceived and how World of Warcraft is received as well. Speaking of new things, EA trotted out something new this week as well. It's called Wild Hearts. It's being made in collaboration with Koei Tecmo. It's under the EA Originals banner. So that's another positive because almost everything EA Originals, maybe except Lost in Random, has had some kind of fluff behind it or gets well received. Lost in Random just kind of felt like it came out because it came around in a lot of other things and just nobody really played it. But this looks cool. It's like a Monster Hunter type game.
Yeah, but I don't think Western studios understand what makes Monster Hunter tick. Even though this is like being developed by an Eastern studio, like EA is gonna ruin it.
Why do you say that?
Microtransactions. Mm-hmm.
Have they said that that's gonna be in the game? Because damn.
They don't say that about any of their games, but somehow they always are. So,
like, I don't know. I would hope not that you're gonna put microtransactions in that game. Like, at least let it live a while first.
Or to be like, oh, you want a better sword to take out this monster, right? Well, pay us 50 cents. There you go.
They'll figure out a way to do Ultimate Team, but with Wild Hearts.
They'll collect card packs of the monsters.
Yeah. I will say, it's cool. Like, it's a different, setup, I think, than Monster Hunter. It's more of a, looks like you're, I guess, like guy with a sword chopping down, or umbrella chopping down these big monsters. I will agree. I don't think it's going to have that life blood that Monster Hunter has. Obviously, Monster Hunter has being a franchise that people know these monsters. They're waiting for these big bosses that.
Plus, this doesn't look like particularly multiplayer focused.
Right, yeah, like a single player Monster Hunter. Yeah. Sort of.
I mean,
which that could be interesting in a way.
Yeah, it might be better that way.
And you also build stuff as well. Like,
yeah.
So it's like Fortnite and Monster Hunter. That's interesting too. Like, you don't see that a lot. So I don't know. Maybe it could work. I'm kind of sort of intrigued, but we'll see. I mean, all the monsters look cool and everything as well. But
they're the 2 other guys or 3 other guys. So yeah. Guess I'll have some multiplayer, but I think that's a very people already know what they like. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, it took a lot for Capcom to be able to like refine it when they made World, and even then, like you said, the online wasn't the best.
Still isn't.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what EA has up their sleeve with this, but it does look interesting, at least for being a new IP, and it's coming out, really quick, coming out next year, February 17th. So
yeah,
we shall see. I'm sure they will have more on it, probably towards the end of the year or early next, for sure. We do know that the UK did actually arrest the GTA 6 hacker. Apparently, he's a 17-year-old that lived in Oxfordshire. Well, he's the presumed GTA 6 hacker.
Right.
I don't want to, be naming someone when this is alleged right now. So this happened pretty much last week at this point, but hey, at least they caught him quick.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's not the only guy. Like, I'm sure he's working with like a team or something.
Yeah, it feels like if you're hacking other people that weren't just Rockstar, it's not just one person. That's got to be like a team.
Also, Uber.
Yeah, Uber and what DoorDash as well, and other places. Yeah, I think Uber and Rockstar were like teaming up to be like, please, let's get this guy. don't, don't want to deal with this happening any further.
Yeah.
What do you make of the whole uprising of Cyberpunk all of a sudden with these crazy Steam concurrents that have been happening?
Y'all people are going to be sorely disappointed when you actually play the game. When you get like
Right,
deep
yeah.
into it.
Yeah, I mean, Edge Runners has done a lot to the point where I'm almost intrigued to play the game, but if the digital sale ever gets down to under 30, or I may just go buy the freaking physical one that I
Yeah,
keep
it's
seeing
like
for
$5 or
$10.
$10.
Yeah.
Yeah, like come on.
Because yeah, just to play it and see what it's like. I love the world of the anime enough that like I think the world's interesting. It's just like what you guys have said of the gameplay is always makes me be like, I don't know.
I mean, granted, it was a while since I played it, and it's I would hopefully been patched by
Yeah.
then.
Well,
But like, I had a mission. There's a mission in the game where you get like infected by a virus, and like the next mission you basically like cured of it, except it bugged out on me. So my UI was like constantly screwed up, like for the rest of the game.
oh wow.
Like when someone calls you, like a little video window pops up on like the upper left hand corner, like displaying who's talking to you. And throughout my entire time with that game, it was constantly glitched out. And it's like this was only supposed to happen during this like one mission. What the hell?
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking about so many bugs at the beginning
Yeah,
when this thing launched.
I know Jeff started playing it again. He tried to like pretty recently, and he played it for like 5 hours, and he was like, "This is more busted than I remember." Like he was amazed how broken it still was.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even like he was trying to like. I mean, he was trying to do dumb shit like the whole cross save stuff, like transferring saves from like the PC to the PS5, and it's like I wouldn't trust that to begin with, or personally. But even like gameplay stuff with him was still broken. Like all of his guns like disappeared, and he could not get them back. And it's like that's real great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not deterring people that are playing the crap out of it on Steam. It's been over 100,000 players for several weeks now, breaking The Witcher 3's all-time player count at one point. It's attracting 1 million players daily. So, I mean, quite a redemption for CD Projekt.
Yeah, but again, I think too little, too late, and
yeah. I mean, it's positive for whenever that expansion comes out. Then more people have played it, and they might be interested in that.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. Will this make them reconsider making games in that universe again? Who knows? Maybe. But it does show them, hey, if you would have come out with the game like this originally, imagine how much people would have really loved it.
Yeah, or that worked in the first place.
Yeah. Hey, at least if Cyberpunk showed that if your game isn't well remembered or doesn't play very well, you can go and make a Netflix anime about it, and people will love it all of a sudden again. Onimusha is hoping for the same fate. It has been a long time since I heard somebody talk about this game series.
Yeah, the
What
last
is
one was
it?
PS2.
PS2 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 3D CGI with hand-drawn backgrounds. It's given, using modern day animation technology. I mean, that's cool. I'm all for having more video game properties be animes or
except for the case of Shenmue.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it's not like Shenmue was bad. It's just I think what HBO Max is taking off, or Discovery's taken off of there. So I think people wanted a season 2. They just, I guess it didn't get enough support to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, and it is a good medium for most of the games. Do you think they'll get Jean Reno for Onimusha season 3?
Maybe.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
He could use some money probably.
Right now. Why not? Also, PS Plus games for October have already been announced. Hot Wheels Unleashed is the PS5 one. Injustice 2 and Super Hot are the PS4 ones. So you can start unlocking those on October 4th. I think I already have Injustice 2 on PS4 before. So
Yeah,
that's been on there before.
Right.
Super Hot has been on there as well before. But those are 2 really good games. So, and I've heard really good things about Hot Wheels Unleashed. So there's that.
Surprisingly
as well.
So.
That's in contrast to the Games for Gold's lineup, which is
doing that.
Yeah, they officially, this is the first month that they're not doing any more 360 games.
Oh, right.
There's only the 2 Xbox One games right now. But I think it's like, what is it? Unbound. I had it up here and I didn't keep it because I was like, oh, I don't know if we were going to talk about it, but Inbound or Unbound, Windbound, sorry, and then Bomber Crew Deluxe Edition. Yeah,
all of the hits.
Yep, not great there. A $45 value if you want to download those at all. Hey, you can still get, well, you can't at the time of this airing, but you could get Portal 2 as part of the last 360 one before.
Yeah.
So there's that at least. But it constantly goes on. It's like on sale for like $5 all the time. So not really a big loss if you don't pick it up at this point. You'll be able to get it at some point again. And just to go into what we've been playing, because Daniel brought it up, I think it was last week, and they hadn't done the full reveal at that point. So I kind of like, and I feel bad for Daniel. Like, he was trying to give me hype for something that I like, and I kind of poo-pooed it, and it because I thought it was really going to be a novelty, but then actually finding out that they put all of the, like, scanned all the actors, like, that makes it more worthwhile, I think. And the fact that you can use them in, like, manage your career mode and all in the modes and stuff like that. It's not just a novelty.
You want to talk about what happened first?
Yeah, Ted Lasso, I'm sorry, is input into FIFA 23. Daniel mentioned it last week. It was sort of like one of those things they were talking about. It wasn't like made official yet. And then another one of those things that gets announced like pretty much right after we did the episode. They show off like pretty much all the actors are scanned in and you can use the whole team and everything. And of course, Ted Lasso is your coach and Beard is there and everything. So that's pretty cool. Like, they added the women's teams. They're probably going to add more leagues as the year goes on. They're going to add the World Cup stuff, which is coming up pretty soon. And then they add Ted Lasso, which is, prepping up for the last season, season 3. So the fact that we're getting like everybody, that's pretty awesome to me. So I will probably use them in a career mode at some point.
It's the last hurrah.
Yeah, why not? The last hurrah for FIFA as well, which I've been playing. The review code came pretty much at the end of the embargo, so didn't have to worry about that. But it was like, I think a day or two left in the preview. So if you gotten the Ultimate Edition, you were already playing it even before me. but it's more FIFA. The power shot that they have is pretty cool. I will say that comes in with that Hypermotion 2 stuff. Um, I've I really enjoy using it. It actually makes it fun to try to pull one of those off, and then the big cutscene that you get afterwards as well makes it seem like this big thing, which that's always great when you add in a new feature and it's something that you actually can get excited about. So the other one I haven't really tested out yet, but right now I don't really know how to feel about the game because I know that it probably already got patched. Like I'm sure as soon as I boot it up, I'm gonna have to download that day one patch that is gonna change the way the game plays. Because right now, it actually feels like it plays slow and methodical, and you can actually think about what you're doing, and you have to actually play it like soccer. Think 2 or 3 moves ahead of what you're wanting to do. I did play as the Chelsea women's team to start out because they have this new like training center thing this year that like helps you get better at the game. And I thought, playing as the women was just as fun. You can tell the difference in how they move and everything. But it's cool again to be able to see the women's leagues be introduced just like you see them in the NBA 2K now with the women as well. So um, I'll have to play it more. I've only played manager mode so far. Um, the only real difference that I've noticed with that is they have new like presentation stuff, and then also like they grade your transfers now. So if you paid too much for somebody, it will give you a failing grade. It's not gonna like take the player away from you or anything like that, but it like basically lets you know that you suck at negotiating and you could have saved this much money if you would have been a better negotiator. So it kind of does show you how you can do better at transfers. So that's kind of helpful as well. But probably next week I'll be able to like give more of an opinion on some of the newer stuff and everything else. But it's been fun so far and ready to play that. And when the World Cup stuff comes, that'll be even more fun. So
Yeah.
that's and I played more Soul Hackers as well.
Still loving it.
I got to the Soul Matrix, and well, that's something.
Yeah.
If I mean, I like the art design and the characters are like really well done and whatever. It's just like those worlds are just so blah, And then even worse is the Soul Matrix feels even more like just there,
It's like an
and
unfinished level, kind of.
yeah, exactly. It feels like an unfinished level, and then also like I'm like, okay, cool. I got this thing that helps me, great. But then I'm like, oh, you can keep going because my demon level is way higher than what you're at the if you've done a lot of battles and you've done a lot of the stuff before you get to that first soul matrix, your demon level should be high. So I think I got through the first 2 sections and I was just like, I got through that first one and I was like, can I get out of here? Because I really don't want to keep doing this. Like, I want to just go to the next part of the story or whatever that might be a little bit more interesting than this part.
Yeah, the fun part about the Soul Matrix stuff is like the doors are tied to the character unlocks.
Yeah,
Like your
exactly.
level, and that's terrible.
So why do you say that? Because don't you really you're gaining levels pretty much as long as you keep doing stuff in the game. So
yeah, but you can screw yourself a little if you like side with one character too much. Like
okay.
I didn't, or I mean they were pretty balanced. But you can have like one character be like level 100, and you get the other character be like level 60, and it's
Really?
like,
How do you do that? Because don't you use them all? I mean,
no, because you're not gaining levels. Not character level. I mean like the social level.
right? The social levels.
And that's
Okay.
only gained through the story or through like the hanging out options or like conversation.
Right.
So like I said, if you side with like arrow too much to the detriment of the other 2, then they'll be underleveled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what it is then.
And like you basically can't platform or platinum that game in one go through. You have to do two
Right.
because you like to get to get like one trophy, so you have to have a soul level of 200. And
Oh
it's like
gosh.
I
Wow.
finished it with 100 for each character, like,
Yeah.
and I was sweating that because like one, I think it was the other, not Era, but the other guy, like he was like 85 or something. So I'm like, I'm hoping there's a few more conversations before this game ends, or I'm gonna be screwed. And
Yeah.
thankfully there was, but there's no like easy way or repeatable way to like grind out that type of level.
Oh, okay. So you would
Um,
have to play it again to get that.
right. Here's a hot tip for you also. You know how you can learn spells or abilities in the Soul Matrix? Like the uh Ringo has like a little avatar in there as well he can like talk to.
Yeah.
Learn I think it was Milady's. I think it was her abilities. One lets you run quicker in
Oh, that'd be
dungeons or
helpful.
in anything really. Like it just requires like 8 MP or something, which is like nothing. And another one lets you basically does away with all enemies that are lower level than you.
Oh, that would be great. Because I feel
Yeah.
like I'm constantly running into something
Yeah.
every time I move. So
Right.
it's like, oh,
So
enemy, enemy.
and you can use both of them at the same time.
Oh, okay,
So
that's good.
yeah. So there's a hot tip. So
Oh, thank you for that. So what have you been playing there?
he gave me a review code for SteamWorld Dig, not SteamWorld
Or
Dig, Shovel
Shovel
Knight.
Knight Dig?
Yeah. Uh, and it's funny because I played it for like an hour when he gave it to me, or like that night, and then the next day I beat it.
Oh wow.
I mean, it is a roguelike, so I didn't 100% it, but I did beat it, or got to the last area and beat the last boss, which I was really surprised at.
Yeah.
Because normally when you start that game, you only have like 4 life. Uh, and you might, increase your like level or your health by like 1 or 2 pips, or maybe even 3. But one run, I had like 15 life.
Yeah.
So I
So
destroyed.
if someone doesn't know what this is,
It is
explain
a
it.
platformer. It is roguelite platformer based on Shovel Knight, but
Right.
instead of going to the left or going to the right, you're digging down into this mine. Or there are different like biomes for the mine. Like there's like a forest and like a mushroom thing. And you're facing bosses after like there are 3 levels per area, and after the 3rd area, you fight a different knight boss, like Mushroom Knight, or the last boss is Drill Knight. And then if you beat them, then you dig down further, and
Okay.
you collect gold or gems along the way. When you die, some of that gets taken away from you, but you're free to spend your gems on upgrades for your character, like permanent upgrades, or unlocking new armor, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really surprised when I beat it. Let's say that. And I was like, huh, okay.
Does it make you want to go back and play it more? Or
So the one thing that kind of interests me a little is there are different armor sets you can swap out, or you can buy and swap out. I unlocked like 2 when I played the game, or maybe even 3. Only one is useful, but there's like 8 or 9 options. And I looked up like where the other 6 were, because I thought like I assumed like when I beat the game, I'd unlock like a different one, or like, hey, you can play as the boss, or you can
right.
play as like his character. I was like, that might be cool. No, like to unlock the other 6, it's all esoteric shit. Like that, like unless you read up on it, you'd have no idea what you're doing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, in the mushroom area, there are occasional blue mushrooms, and if you hit enough of them, a pathway will open, and there'll be an armor set in there. And I'm like, the game does not tell you this at all. Like, and I mean, I guess that's a roguelite tradition of like, Binding of Isaac isn't exactly like transparent with shit either, but
right.
nothing in this game would tell you that you can do that. Or there's like a big drill machine that is like constantly chasing you through the mine. Like you can't like hang out too much in it, or else it does kill you. And I guess there's like an armor set on that thing. Like you can like somehow jump up to it in like the last level, and there's like an armor piece you can get or armor schematic. And it's like I would never have like figured that out or done that because all the game tells you to do is run away from this damn thing. So
Yeah.
it's good. If you like Shovel Knight, I don't know if I actually like the mechanics of Shovel Knight that much. So like the combat is fine, but
Right.
platforming is like weird because you automatically do that pogo thing, and I kind of wish
Yeah,
there was just
exactly.
kind of button, you know. But yeah, it was a good game. I'll have the review done in a few days probably.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
What else was I playing that I can't remember
You
right
played
now?
Live Alive?
Yeah, I just got that today actually. It's $40 and it was a new copy, so I was kind of surprised at that. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, there are 8 characters to play as, and I guess I beat one of the stories. I beat the wrestler one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the rest of them.
Which I guess is maybe the shortest one because it only took me like 45 minutes.
Yeah, there's some that are like 2 hours. Some that are
Yeah. It's interesting. I'll say that. Like I know the game does a pretty poor job at explaining some mechanics of it. Let's say, like there's like, oh, then this bar above you is filled, then you can do an action. I'm like, okay, I get that, but you didn't tell me how to move my character at all. So
yeah, but isn't each one different though? So
yeah, that's another problem. Or another fun thing I'm going to discover is every character plays differently because they'll have different basically jobs. So yeah, the wrestler one, he would learn moves by being attacked by other wrestlers or other fighters. So that's kind of interesting. Like trying to go like one of these guys in particular was a pain in the ass because they're trying to goad him into like attacking me because he had 3 moves I could learn and I learned 2 and he's like near dead. And I'm just going like attack me with this 3rd move so I can learn it and then kill you, And I eventually did get it, but yeah, it's cool. I'm kind of curious more now to try the SNES version.
yeah.
I know it has been like, localized by someone, let's say.
Right, yeah.
And a local store actually has like a copy of it, like a reproduction copy. So I may try to track that down. But yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, that's one game that I have on my list of when I start paring down things that I want to buy, like, just because it apparently inspired Octopath Traveler, and also
it reminded me a lot of Suikoden 3 actually also, because that was a game that had like 3 main protagonists, let's say, and then 3 additional ones, and they all had like interconnecting stories. And I know this one does culminate in like all your characters meeting up somehow.
Yeah.
Even though they all, one's a caveman and one's from like a robot in the future. So
yeah, fair enough. I think it's cool that they did do that, where they made it all different, and that's positive.
Yeah.
At least. Anything else?
Still screwing on a GTA 5 some.
Well,
I'm really that bored, Like,
oh my gosh.
I think I forgot to mention it. I mentioned it last week, but I did beat that Ragnarok DLC for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh, okay,
and
yeah, you did.
The credit sequence for that thing is so goddamn long. My God.
Was there anything at the end that was worth it?
No, it's just like dumps you back. I mean, you can skip it obviously, but it just jumps you back in like the main world again, and it's like, holy crap! Like Avengers, Infinity War, or Endgame. The credits were like far shorter in that thing. This thing was like the credits were like 26 minutes.
Yeah,
and it's like, holy hell! Like, I don't need to know who did like the Korean translation or like if you want to have that in there for Korea, go ahead. But
Yeah.
come on, guys. So, yeah, it was a funny moment.
Well, all right. I guess we will start wrapping it up here. So I mentioned that pretty much the big game coming out this week is going to be Overwatch 2. So I'm sure Mark might have some thoughts.
Ever play it?
If he does play that Alfred Hitchcock Vertigo game that I feel like got announced a while ago, comes out for console. This Chaos Head Noah Chaos, which is like a visual novel that apparently is too spicy for Steam and they had to censor it. But apparently on Switch it's like a little bit less uncensored. I don't know. It's just something I saw roaming around there.
Right.
That Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 also comes out, and the No Man's Sky comes out on Switch as well. So if you've been waiting to play that on Switch,
Yeah, the best platform to play it on, I'm sure.
then
Did
go
you see
for
that
it.
$70 Skyrim on Switch also?
And then to find out that Nintendo's publishing it as well, right? So Nintendo is definitely adding the Switch tax onto that. My God, $70 for an old game there.
That I'm sure won't run that well. I mean,
Yeah, I'm definitely sure it won't. But we'll see. They've done miracles again with Switch. Apparently, the near version of Switch runs really well. So
yeah.
we shall see how that goes. And been watching anything of note?
I've
Or
actually, I mean, it's an old show. I've been watching that Fallen Skies show.
oh, okay. So what is it about for someone like me who does not?
I mean, it's alien invasion, kind
Oh,
of.
okay.
I like a lot of the actors in it personally, like Will Patton and Noah. Get the guy's last name. And it has like decent production values. Like Jens doesn't like it because he thought it was too low brow or too low budget, but all he likes is like anime and anthology stuff. So
Yeah. What does he know, right?
I think it's perfectly fine. It's not great, but I just started season 4 and I just picked it up on Blu-ray, so that's kind of why.
All right, fair enough.
I assume you're watching Andor.
I have not. I've watched the first episode of Andor, and then I can't get myself to watch the rest of it. It's like, I don't know. It's just not
I don't blame you.
vibing with me right now. Maybe when House of Dragon's over and I don't have a show to be hyped for or something,
I think
I'll watch it.
my philosophical problem with Andor is I didn't like Rogue One to begin with. They were explaining something in Star Wars that didn't need to be explained, and Andor is like the continuance of that. Like they're further explaining something that A, you already know how this guy, what happens to him, and then B, who cares?
Yeah.
If Spanish is being yelled at in the background.
Okay, well, good thing we were at the end anyway. So, yeah, well, we'll see y'all next week. Thank you for listening, watching, and bye-bye.
Later.